Hello, we will begin the 7th lecture on Greek. Today we will study pronouns. Before we begin with pronouns, let's review the things we have learned so far. The best way to learn a new language is to review what we previously learned. It is extremely difficult to learn a language without reviewing what we previously learned. Let's first look at verbs. Let's look at the personal endings of present tense verbs. Please read along. O, ace, a, omen, ete, usi, o, s, a, omen, ete, usi. Next, let's go over the personal endings of the second declension masculine noun. Please read along. Os, u, o, on, oi, on, ois, us, oi. Os, u, o, on, oi, on, ois, us, oi. These are the personal endings of the second declension masculine noun. Next, the personal endings of the first declension feminine noun. Please read along. A, as, a, an, I, on, ice, as. A, as, a, an, I, on, ice, as. The second forms. S, n, I, on, ice, as. S, n, I, on, ice, as. These are the personal endings of the first declension feminine noun. Next, the personal endings of the second declension neuter noun. Please read along. On, u, o, on, a, on, ois, a. On, u, o, on, a, on, ois, a. Next are the forms of adjectives, but we will not go over them separately because the personal endings of adjectives are the same as the personal endings of nouns. Next, let's review the definite article. First, the singular. Please read along. Ho, he, to, tu, tes, tu, to, te, to, ton, ten, to. Let's first look at just the masculine forms. Ho, tu, to, ton, he, tes, te, ten, to, tu, to, to. These are the singular definite article forms. With the exceptions of ho, he, and to, the remaining forms have added taf to the personal endings. Next, the plural. Please read along. Hoi, hai, ta, ton, 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 tois, tais, tois, tus, tas, ta. Hoi, ton, tois, tus, hai, ton, tais, tas, ta, ton, tois, ta. Here also, with the exceptions of hoi and hai, the remaining forms have added the stem taf, and the same personal endings of nouns have been put behind the stem. This shows how important the personal endings of nouns are. We have just reviewed the contents of what we studied in the last lecture. Today we will be studying pronouns. First, let's study the definition of pronouns. A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. I am the teacher who teaches you Greek. In that sentence, the noun would be teacher. I can use the pronoun I to replace the noun teacher. You are students taking this course. I can use the pronoun you to replace the noun students. What am I holding in my hand? This is chalk. I can use the pronouns this or that to replace the noun chalk. The words teacher, students, and chalk are all nouns. Words that replace nouns like I, you, this, or that are called pronouns. First, we will study the personal pronoun. The personal pronoun is a pronoun that replaces a personal noun, which is a noun referring to a person. I that replaced teacher and you that replaced students are pronouns, and he or she are personal pronouns that are third-person pronouns. We briefly studied personal pronouns when we studied verbs. There are 3 persons of personal pronouns. There is the first person pronoun I, the second person pronoun you, and the third person pronoun, which are all pronouns excluding I and you. There are also plural forms of pronouns. We, you, plural, or they. First, let's review the verbs that we previously learned. Here they are. O, ace, a, omen, ete, usi. We would then add the stems of verbs to these personal endings. For example, the verb say would be lego. Lego is I say. When the personal ending is added to it, it would become leges. This would then be you singular say. The other forms are changed in the same way. The personal endings of verbs that we previously learned become personal pronouns. The verbs include personal pronouns. Yet, the pronouns we will learn today will not have verbs added to them, but we will study the pronoun in itself. Let's look at an example. Lego is a verb. What does the verb lego mean? Leg means say. O means I say. However, what will happen if we write ego, lego, before the verb lego? O means I, and the pronoun ego also means I. I was repeated in the sentence. Ego emphasizes the word I. It stresses the word I. The phrase I say can have different nuances. The nominative case of the personal pronoun puts an emphasis on the subject of the sentence. The other cases of the personal pronoun are slightly different. We will study the other cases to better understand this. Let's first look at the different forms of pronouns. We will first look at the forms. Let's begin with the singular forms. We use three forms: the first person, the second person, and the third person. We will study the third person later, and we will first study the first and second person forms. Like nouns, pronouns also have different cases. There is the nominative case, the genitive case, the dative case, and the accusative case. The nominative is I, which is ego. Then, how can we say my? We can use the following expressions. We can use the word emu, emu, and we can use the word mu. We can use either emu or mu. How can we say to me in the dative form? In this case, we would use the expression moi. It does not matter if we omit epsilon, and simply say moi, 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 moi. Fourth, how can we say me? Please follow along. Eme, eme, me, eme, me. These are the two expressions of me. Next, let's study the second person. How can we say you? We can use the expression sui. Sui. It means you. Then how can we say your of the genitive form? In this case, we would say su. 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 This means your. Third, let's look at the dative form. When interpreted, it would be to you. To you would be soy. 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 Fourth, the accusative form. The accusative form would be se. 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 Se means you. Then, in order to say, I say to you, we would use the expression lego. I say. To you would be soy. Lego soy. We can make sentences in this way. The verb agapao means to love. I love. Agapao. I love you would be agapao se. I love you. We can use pronouns in our sentences in this way. Let's first read the second and first persons. Ego, emu, emoi, eme. Ego, emu, emoi, eme. The second person, su, su, soy, se. Sui, su, soy, se. These are the first person and second person pronouns. Next, let's study the third person. There are three ways to describe the third person. Hence, we will study the third person separately. The third person includes a masculine form where the pronoun he is used, the feminine form where the pronoun she is used, and lastly, the neuter form. When interpreted, the pronouns would be he, she, and it. Let's look at the forms. There is the stem alt. The personal ending of the masculine, feminine, and the neuter are added to the stem out. Let's put the stems and personal endings together. The personal ending of the masculine nominative is os, which we will add to out. It would then become autos. Autos. Os, u, o, on, os, u, o, and on are the personal endings of nouns. Hence, the forms would be autos, autu, auto, and auton. When interpreted, autos would be his. Then what would the genitive form of his be? It would be autu. How can we interpret auto? This would be to him. The accusative form is auton. Auton is him. The same rule is applied to the feminine and neuter forms. What are the personal endings of the feminine? The feminine personal endings are a, as, an, and es, and n. We do not use a for pronouns, but hence it would be aute. Let's read together. Aute, autes, aute, auten. In this way, we used the personal endings of the feminine noun es, and n. Hence, aute, autes, aute, and auten. Let's interpret them. The nominative feminine aute would be she. The genitive feminine is autes. When interpreted, it would be her. Next, the dative form. The dative would be aute. She would become to her. Next, the accusative form. Auten. Auten would be her. The same rules apply to the neuter form. Please read along. Auto, autu, auto, auto. The personal endings of the neuter are originally on, u, o, and on. However, nu is omitted from the nominative and accusative forms. Hence, both the nominative and accusative would be auto. Let's read and interpret them. The nominative form. Auto. This is it. The genitive form. Autu. This is of it. The dative form. Auto. This is to it. The accusative form. Auto. This is it. We can know the forms of the third person when we add the personal endings of the masculine, feminine, and the neuter to the stem out. Next, the plural forms. Again, we will first study the first and second persons, and then study the third person separately. The plural forms. Let's look at the word we, the nominative we. We is hemes. Because of the rough breathing, emes becomes hemes. 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 This is we. What would our be in the genitive form? It would be hemon. Hemon. This would be our. Then what would to us be in the dative form? It would be hemin. 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 Next, the accusative form. Us. This would be hemas. Let's read the first person forms. Hemes, hemon, hemin, hemas. Hemes, hemon, hemin, hemas. These are the first person forms for we. For the second person, let's first look at you in the plural form. The nominative form is you, plural. Because of the rough breathing, it would be humes. Humes. We replaced he with hu. Hence, they would be humon, humin, humas. In this way, just the way the words are spelled are different of the first and second persons. Humes, humon, humin, humas. When interpreted, the nominative would be you, plural. The genitive would be your, plural, humon. The dative would be to you, plural, humin, humin. The accusative would be you, plural. Here it would be you in the plural form, humas, humas. Let's read the first and second persons. Hemes, hemon, hemin, hemas. Humes, humon, humin, humas. We have studied the first and second persons. Let's look at the third person. Just like the third person singular, the third person plural also has three different forms: the masculine, the feminine, and the neuter. Like the singular, we will look at the word alt. We can add the plural personal endings to the word out. What are the plural personal endings? They would be oi, on, ois, and us. We would add out, and they would become autoi, auton, autois, and autus. Please read along. Autoi, auton, autois, autus. When interpreted, it would be they. The genitive would be their. The dative would be to them, autois. The accusative would be them, which is autus. Please read along. Autoi, auton, autois, autus. Autoi, auton, autois, autus. Next, the feminine. The stem of the feminine is also aut. We can add the feminine personal endings I, on, ice, and as to it. Hence, they would be autai, auton, autais, autas. Please read along. Autai, auton, autais, autas. When interpreted, it would be they, autai, their, auton, to them, autais, them, autas. What would the neuter forms be? The neuter forms would be changed in the same ways. The personal endings a, on, ois, and a are added to the stem aut. It would then become auta, auton, autois, auta. They are changed in these ways. We keep putting an emphasis on the personal endings of nouns because they are always added to stems to form different variations of a word. We must be careful of one thing with the personal pronoun. All nominative forms of the personal pronoun are used for emphasis. We studied ego, lego, which means I say. We studied that ego and o have different meanings of I. Lego is I say. However, we use ego to put an emphasis on I. Hence, ego, lego would be I say. We have studied the personal pronoun. Next, we will learn that there is a special usage of autos. Autos is the most basic third-person pronoun. However, this word has a few other special usages besides being a third-person pronoun. We will study this in 3 different ways. First, the definite article. Let's look at an example. Ho aner autos. Ho is a definite article. Aner is a man, and ho aner is the man. Then there is another form, autos ho aner. The definite article and the noun are put together. The definite article and the noun are put together, and autos is added either to the front or the back. In such a case, it would be interpreted to be the man himself. the man himself. Please read along. Ho apostolos autos. Apostolos. Autos. Autos ho apostolos. Autos is placed before or after the definite article and the noun. Apostolos means an apostle. Hence, when interpreted, it would be the apostle himself. The apostle himself. There are some things we must be careful of. The interpretation changes when autos is placed between the definite article and the noun. Let's look at two examples. Ho autos aner. Ho autos apostolos. Here, autos was placed between the definite article and the noun. Earlier, when we interpreted the man himself, but in this case, it would be interpreted to be the same man. Ho autos apostolos would not be the apostle himself, but would be changed to mean the same apostle. These are the two usages. Lastly, the personal pronoun is used with the nominative of the verb. Ego lego, this means I say. When ego is used, it becomes I say, and an emphasis is placed on I. We can also say autos lego, autos ego lego. This too puts an emphasis on I. These are the three usages of autos. This was the 7th lecture of Greek. We studied pronouns, and the lecture consisted of a great amount of material. Please memorize all that we learned today. Here we will conclude the 7th lecture on Greek. Please study more of the Greek language by purchasing the textbook. Thank you.